General Eisenhower once said there were three tools that won World War II: the C-47 transport plane, the landing craft, and the Jeep. The Jeep weighed barely a ton, could go almost anywhere a man could walk, and by 1945, the Allies had built 640,000 of them. But when the war began in 1939, the United States Army did not have a single vehicle like it. The Army was still using motorcycles, sidecars, and modified civilian cars that got stuck in mud on the first rain. In June 1940, as German panzers rolled through France, the US Army realized it needed a fast, light reconnaissance vehicle, and fast. So the Quartermaster Corps drafted a specification for a quarter-ton, four-wheel drive truck that weighed no more than 1,300 pounds. They sent the proposal to 135 American manufacturers and gave them just 49 days to build a working prototype. Only two companies answered the call: Willys Overland and the American Bantam Car Company. A third, Ford, would join later, but the real story begins with a tiny company from Pennsylvania that barely had the resources to build a car. American Bantam had just 15 employees and had not built a car in years, but their chief engineer Karl Probst accepted the challenge. Probst worked without pay for 5 days straight, sleeping on a cot in the factory to design the prototype from scratch. On September 21, 1940, the Bantam prototype, called the BRC, was driven 400 miles to the Army testing grounds at Camp Holabird, Maryland. It arrived under its own power, passed every test, and outperformed every vehicle the Army had ever evaluated. But the Army, fearing Bantam could not mass-produce, gave the design to Willys and Ford, and a legal battle began. Willys refined the design with a more powerful engine, the Go Devil, producing 60 horsepower from a four-cylinder block. The Willys MB weighed 2,450 pounds fully loaded, heavier than the spec, but its torque and durability won the Army's contract. By July 1941, the standardized design, the Willys MB, entered full production, and the vehicle that would change warfare forever was born. The Willys MB was built on an assembly line in Toledo, Ohio, where workers produced one complete Jeep every 80 seconds by early 1942. Ford, brought in under license, built their own version, the Ford GPW, at an even faster rate from plants in Michigan and New Jersey. Together, Willys and Ford produced more than 640,000 Jeeps by the end of the war, a number that dwarfs any other military vehicle of the era. To understand why the Jeep mattered, you have to understand what the Army needed a vehicle to do and what it could not do before. In 1939, a typical infantry division moved on foot, with supplies hauled by horses, mules, and a handful of trucks that could not leave paved roads. The Jeep changed that equation overnight. It could ford streams, climb 45-degree slopes, and carry 4 men or 800 pounds of gear through terrain that stopped trucks cold. Its secret was a combination of high ground clearance, short wheelbase, and a transfer case that gave it four-wheel drive with a low-range gear. But the Jeep was more than a transport vehicle. It became a weapons platform, an ambulance, a radio car, and a mobile command post. In North Africa, the Jeep served alongside the British Long-Range Desert Group, stripped down with extra fuel cans and machine guns for deep raids behind German lines. In the Pacific Theater, Jeeps were winched ashore from landing craft and immediately drove into jungle mud that would have swallowed a full-sized truck. On the Eastern Front, the United States shipped more than 50,000 Jeeps to the Soviet Union under the Lend-Lease Act. Soviet commanders valued the Jeep so highly that they reserved it for senior officers and reconnaissance units, calling it by the affectionate nickname Ivan-Willys. The Jeep also became the war's most important medical evacuation vehicle. Its open body could carry 2 stretchers stacked one above the other. Field mechanics modified Jeeps with dozens of improvised adaptations, from snowplows in the Ardennes to railroad wheels for patrol on railway tracks. By 1944, every single American infantry division in Europe had more Jeeps than any other motor vehicle, outnumbering trucks, half-tracks, and even tanks. And the Jeep did something no tank or truck could do. It built a bond with the soldiers who drove it, who named it, painted it, and trusted it with their lives. That personal bond was tested in the most brutal conditions of the war, the Battle of the Bulge, where the Jeep became a lifeline. In December 1944, the German offensive cut roads and severed supply lines, but the Jeep could still get through where nothing else could. Field reports from the 101st Airborne at Bastogne record Jeeps delivering ammunition, plasma, and hot food under direct German artillery fire. The Jeep's open design meant it had no armor, but that same openness made it easy to load, unload, and adapt in seconds. In the Pacific, the Jeep faced an entirely different enemy, not German tanks, but volcanic ash, coral, and jungle rot. On islands like Guadalcanal and Iwo Jima, Jeeps were fitted with steel tracks over their tires to grip the loose volcanic sand. The Jeep's engine could be waterproofed with a simple kit, allowing it to drive through saltwater surf during amphibious landings. Perhaps the most unexpected Jeep theater was Burma, where it fought alongside the British Chindits deep in the jungle. The British converted Jeeps into portable artillery tractors, towing 6-pounder anti-tank guns through jungle paths no truck could follow. In the China-Burma-India theater, the Jeep became the primary vehicle on the Lido Road, the supply route carved through some of the world's most rugged terrain. The Jeep even went to sea. The US Navy mounted them on landing craft as mobile fire support for beach assaults. By 1945, the Jeep had been adapted into more than 36 official variants and hundreds of unofficial field modifications. There was a Jeep that carried a recoilless rifle, a Jeep fitted with rocket launchers, and a Jeep that could lay telephone wire at 30 miles per hour. The railway Jeep rode on flanged steel wheels and patrolled miles of track across France and Germany, checking for sabotage. When the war ended in September 1945, the Jeep had served on every continent and in every climate on Earth. And its impact did not end with the surrender. The Jeep was so well designed that it became the foundation for an entirely new category of vehicle, the sport utility vehicle. After the war, the Jeep did not disappear into scrapyards. It was so durable that thousands were sold as surplus to farmers, loggers, and civilians around the world. The Willys Company, recognizing the civilian demand, rebranded the MB as the CJ, short for civilian Jeep, and began selling it in 1945. That civilian Jeep became the foundation of an entirely new industry, the light utility vehicle market that eventually produced the SUV. Today, the word Jeep is a registered trademark, but in 1945, it entered the dictionary as a generic term for any rugged four-wheel drive utility vehicle. But the Jeep's greatest legacy is not a word or a brand. It is a lesson in how a simple, well-engineered tool can change the course of history. Consider this: the Jeep was designed in 49 days by a man working without pay, built by two companies that had never made a military vehicle, and yet it outperformed every vehicle the Army had ever tested. That speed of design and production was itself a weapon. The United States outbuilt its enemies not just with factories, but with the wisdom to standardize a single excellent design. Germany, by contrast, built dozens of different vehicle types, each with specialized parts that could not be swapped between models. The German Kugelwagen, the closest counterpart to the Jeep, was a capable vehicle, but only about 50,000 were ever built. The Allies built more than 12 Jeeps for every single Kugelwagen the Germans produced, a numerical advantage that logistics historians call the arithmetic of victory. But numbers alone do not explain the Jeep's impact. What made it indispensable was its ability to go where nothing else could, and to do jobs no one had imagined. In the final months of the war in Europe, the Jeep was even used as a makeshift snowplow, clearing roads through the Ardennes so supply trucks could reach the front. In the Pacific, the same vehicle that plowed snow in Belgium was driving through coral sand on Iwo Jima, proving that versatility was its true genius. By the time the war ended, the Jeep had become more than a vehicle. It was a symbol of American industrial power and the ingenuity of ordinary workers. And that symbol endures today. The Jeep Wrangler, the direct descendant of the Willys MB, is still built in Toledo, Ohio, on the same assembly line tradition that began in 1941. But the Jeep story is not just about a vehicle that survived the war. It is about a vehicle that helped the Allies win it, one muddy mile at a time. To understand the Jeep's full impact, you have to look at the numbers behind the Lend-Lease program, the single largest transfer of military aid in history. Under Lend-Lease, the United States shipped more than 50,000 Jeeps to the Soviet Union alone, enough to equip every Red Army division with a reconnaissance platoon. The Jeep was light enough to be loaded onto a C-47 cargo plane and dropped by parachute into forward areas where no airstrip existed. That air mobility meant a Jeep could reach paratroopers within hours of a landing, carrying ammunition, radio equipment, and a driver who knew the terrain. The British Army took the Jeep concept even further. They created the Jeep Carrier, an aircraft carrier converted to transport and launch Jeeps for coastal raids. In the Mediterranean, Jeeps were loaded onto landing ship tanks and driven straight onto beaches at Anzio and Salerno under German artillery fire. The Jeep steering column could be folded flat against the dashboard, a design feature that let soldiers sleep in the vehicle or load long cargo like stretchers. That same fold-flat feature meant a Jeep could be packed into a shipping crate only 6 feet long. 3 Jeeps fit in the space of one standard truck. That shipping efficiency was not an accident. The Army specified the Jeep's dimensions to fit exactly into the standard cargo transport system used by the Quartermaster Corps. Every Jeep came with a basic toolkit strapped to the side: a shovel, an axe, a tow cable, and a 5-gallon water can that doubled as a field shower. The spare tire mounted on the rear served as a backrest for soldiers riding in the open cargo area, a comfort detail that soldiers in every theater appreciated. In the Pacific, Marines learned that the Jeep's flat hood made an excellent field desk for map reading and an emergency operating table when nothing else was available. The Jeep's electrical system was a simple 6-volt setup, weak by modern standards, but easy for any field mechanic to repair with basic tools and spare wire. That simplicity was deliberate. The Army required that a Jeep could be repaired by a soldier with only basic mechanical training, using parts that were interchangeable across all vehicles. Willys and Ford built every Jeep to the exact same blueprint. A bolt from a Toledo-made Jeep fit a Michigan-made Jeep perfectly anywhere in the world. That parts interchangeability was a logistics revolution. It meant a Jeep disabled in Burma could be repaired with parts flown from a depot in England because every part was the same. That system of interchangeable parts was the real secret weapon. It meant a Jeep disabled in the mud of Burma could be repaired with parts flown from a depot in England because every single component was identical. The British 8th Army in North Africa took this adaptability even further. They stripped Jeeps down to bare frames, added machine guns, and created what they called the Jeep Raiding Patrol. These raiding patrols would drive hundreds of miles behind German lines at night, navigating by stars and compass, then strike airfields and fuel depots before dawn. The most famous of these units was the Long Range Desert Group, whose Jeeps carried enough fuel and water to operate independently for 3 full weeks. Field Marshal Erwin Rommel himself reportedly said that the Jeep was the most useful vehicle the Allies had a grudging respect from Germany's most famous desert commander. In the Pacific, the Jeep faced a different kind of challenge. The volcanic ash of Iwo Jima was so fine that it clogged air filters and ground down moving parts within hours. Marine mechanics solved this by fitting the Jeep with oversized air filters made from oil-soaked rags, a field modification that kept the engines running in conditions the designers never anticipated. On the island of Peleliu, Jeeps were fitted with steel plates welded to their sides, improvised armor that gave drivers a fighting chance against Japanese sniper fire from the limestone caves. In the European theater, the Jeep proved equally indispensable during the Allied advance across France in the summer of 1944. When General George Patton's Third Army raced across France, his supply columns relied on Jeeps to carry radio equipment and relay orders between tank battalions spread over hundreds of miles. The Jeep's role in communications cannot be overstated. Every infantry battalion in the United States Army had a radio Jeep that could call in artillery or air support from anywhere on the battlefield. In the Battle of the Bulge, when German artillery cut telephone lines, radio Jeeps became the only link between surrounded units and the artillery batteries trying to support them. The Jeep also served as a mobile command post for company and battalion commanders who needed to move quickly between positions under fire. A commander could leap out of his Jeep, unfold a map on the hood, issue orders, and be back on the road in under 2 minutes, speed that saved lives in fluid battle situations. By the spring of 1945, the Jeep had become so essential that Allied commanders could not imagine operating without it. It was woven into every aspect of military life. And when the war in Europe finally ended in May 1945, the Jeep was there too, carrying correspondents, photographers, and officers to the signing of the German surrender at Reims. The Jeep was there in the Pacific too, on the deck of the USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay, as Japanese officials signed the instrument of surrender on September 2, 1945. A simple vehicle designed in 49 days by a man without pay had carried the Allies across every continent and every ocean to that final moment. If you want to understand how wars are really won, look not at the biggest weapons. Look at the simple, durable machines that carry victory 1 mile at a time.